Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Holistic Health Hub. I'm here with my colleagues. Let's start with Harry. Harry, let's start with you today.
Hi, I'm the learning difficulty expert. Good to be on this channel today. Looking forward to it.
Who wants to go next?
Hi there, I'm Shauna Drew, and I'm a naturopathic doctor in Canada.
Awesome.
Cool. And I'm Sally, holistically fit specialist. Hi there.
Hi, and I am Maggie. I am, pretty much a registered holistic nutritionist with a couple of other things on the side. But today we are going to talk about, actually, you know what? I'm going to let Harry introduce us because this was his suggestion for today, and I think it's wonderful. So take it away, Harry.
So yesterday I was watching a wonderful TED Talk with my wife by a woman called Brene, who's made really her name out of the word vulnerability. And as part of that talk, she was talking about the scripts that we play in our own heads. Some of them are positive and some of them are negative. So, for instance, when I go to speak publicly, there's a little voice sometimes that says to me, maybe no one's going to be interested in what you have to say. and then I get another answer, which is, of course, they're going to be interested in what you have to say. And I go with that second voice. But many of the people that I see in clinic, many of the kids that I see and adults, have a stronger negative voice. So, I'm not beautiful. I'm too fat. No one plays with me because I'm not worthy. I'm never going to be able to meet my dad's expectations or whatever. And these scripts dominate their life. And I think the wonderful stuff about Brene's work is that she illuminates the choice that we have. We can choose to listen to whatever voice we want, and the voices that are not helpful, we can stop listening to them. And then they diminish.
Now, is this the power of vulnerability, the sort of the lectures that you were listening to?
It was part of that talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've listened to that. If anybody has a chance, because it's not a book, but if anybody has a chance to download it as an audiobook, it was actually my first introduction to Brene Brown. And I really loved it because she was the one who, obviously she was the one who was narrating it. It's not a book, but she was the one doing the lecture. So you get her mannerisms and you get her humor. And it was really nice to hear the author of her other books, because she actually does the voiceover for all her books, I believe, but a lot of the audiobooks I listen to, it's somebody else, so you miss that connection. So it's a great audiobook.
But I think this is important for health and happiness, because if you've got this negative script running in the background of your life undermining you, it's really hard to stay positive and happy and fulfilled and healthy. So it's really important to welcome the positive voice and diminish the negative. Yeah.
I deal a lot with my clients on this, and we call it, everyone's got different words for it, but with the head chatter, you've got your inner critic and you've got your inner coach. And the inner critic is there to sabotage you, to, as quickly as possible, try and put you down, go into a negative state. And, it's very difficult to train yourself. I mean, it's possible, but it's not easy to get that inner coach, build that up and keep building it up, because the inner critic is the first one to sort of judge you and put you down. If you plan, for example, to eat well over the weekend, and then all of a sudden you're tired and it's 10 o'clock at night and there's nothing available except for crap food, you think, oh, bugger it, I'll do it. And the inner critic is like, well, there you go. I knew you'd do it anyway. And then you keep spiraling downwards. And it's the inner coach that has to pick you up, dust you off and say, come on, buddy, let's give it another go. And it takes practice, but it's really important to do it, because you're dealing with two parts of yourself. One's going against you and one's going for you. And once you're aware that you have these voices in your head, if you like, you can work with them and work against that inner critic, sort of like so easy to drag you down, and the other one's trying to drag you up and boost up your self-esteem.
Yeah, so I Yeah, I totally agree. And this is something that I've been practicing myself, and I teach people every day, is looking at, if you're having sort of that argument in your head about, that you can't do something, or you don't have a skill yet, or you haven't built it yet, sometimes you can actually, I mean, I'm a very logical thinker. So what I tell people to do is like write it down on a page and look for the evidence that supports both sides. So looking at, the evidence that says you can't do this or that you're a failure, but also looking at the other side, because often we can find equal or even more evidence that says we can. So, for example, with Harry's example of speaking, like there's probably a lot of positive examples that you've spoken in public where there's been a positive response and people did listen. And maybe there was one that really dragged you down long ago. And we always focus on that one negative thought.
Yeah. And I think there's something embedded in our culture. I mean, you only have to turn on the news or listen to the news. It's all about the negative stuff. So
yeah, like does it come from our childhood, this second voice that we have, or is it something that's innate, that whether, depending on what our childhood is, it doesn't matter because it's always going to be there? What's your take on that? Like, will there always be, for want of a better word, yin and yang, or does it depend on how you were brought up and what you were told and what you were taught?
I think you're right. It's yin and yang. There's always a shadow side. There's always light and dark. We need both. We need to control it and manage it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think pretty much any successful person I've ever talked to has, I guess, what's called the imposter complex, where they don't think they know enough. And, it can be the most brilliant person and the most successful in their field that you've ever met. And they all have that nagging feeling like they're going to be called out, that they don't have it together. So, I mean, yes, I think it can be amplified, and it can get very loud depending on your upbringing. So if you've had very critical parents or, or teachers or other things that have planted those seeds, it just like allows that side to grow bigger. But I think we all have it, even when you do get, more successful in the world.
And with everything that we discuss every week, once you have that awareness, when you're aware that you have this inner critic and this inner coach, or you have competing thoughts in your head, then it's a lot easier to work with it once you're aware that what's going on in your head. I can't remember, it might have been Freudian, but I think like the inner critic was relating to the ego, and then the inner coach is more the id or something like that. But it's the competing parties within yourself, which was a very Freudian thing as well. So, but coming back to the basic level, I think once you're aware that you've got two teams playing against each other, then you can work with the team to really pick itself up a lot more.
I wonder if it also, listening to what you're saying, I wonder if it also sort of keeps us in check. Don't get too, when you grow up, don't get too big for your britches. Yeah, don't get too cocky, because it seems to be that the opposite side seems to be the one that says, well, you're not as good as you think you are, or, that kind of thing. Whereas potentially if we didn't have that, we could do and be everything that we wanted to be. But I think a lot of it is other people who are judging what we're doing. That comes in somehow to, to bring us down a peg or two, or to, people don't like necessarily people who succeed. They don't know how to deal with it on a positive scale. Unless you're in that environment, unless you are vulnerable, unless, because really, and I think this Brene Brown says this as well, once you're vulnerable, you can say to somebody, let's say they got the job that you wanted, you can say, you know what, good job, congratulations, I'm so happy that you got that job, but mean it. Whereas if you're not being vulnerable, then you're likely to go, oh, well, she got that job, well, I wanted that job, she's not. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's shifting from that fear factor, being in a state of fear, to actually putting yourself out there and being vulnerable. And that it's very difficult to shift from that safe place of fear and anxiety to then actually giving something a go and exposing yourself. But, you know, doing it takes courage and strength, but, you know, so much more rewarding when you take that leap. And yeah.
And you make a real connection with the audience when you do. Yeah.
Because you're being real and raw. You're exposing your true self as well. You're putting yourself out there. It's like us today. Exactly what we're doing.
That's right.
Yeah, Brene Brown, when that TED Talk first came out, that was a very pivotal moment for me. And for me, the part that stood out, it's interesting, we all hear different things from the same talk.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was more around perfectionism. And that was a big part of my sort of unraveling of that. And it was the idea that, again, that we only connect through our vulnerabilities and our flaws, and that's where we bring people in, versus, you know, I was trying to be perfect in all ways to bring people closer to me, but actually pushing them away. So that was like the thing that I got most from that TED Talk with Brene Brown. And I still think about that a lot, is, you know, when I get a little carried away and, you know, does it look right? Or is the lighting good? Like in this room where I'm sitting talking to you guys, the lighting's terrible, but I'm here. So, you know, we can get hung up on the details that are completely paralyzing.
Yeah, the typo in the report. Yeah.
A big one is asking for help. You know, are you able to ask for help? Or you're like, no, I can do it myself. Thank you very much. I know that. Oh, I ask for a lot of help, as you all know, sitting right here, because, and that's actually grown, but that's the only way that I can be vulnerable and be humble and show the real me, by saying, I can't do this, or I need help with this. Could you help me with this? And then I think on the flip side of that is the person who says, yes, absolutely, I can help you. They're also being vulnerable because they might not understand what it is that you want, but they're willing to put themselves out there, and maybe you just figure it out together. But maybe the person who says, no, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I've got this, and this on, is actually, as Sally says, scared that what you're asking them to do, they don't know how to do. So instead of saying, actually, I don't know how to do that, I'm not the right person, they might just say, oh, I'm busy. That was a lot for me to say.
Overall, you're saying being vulnerable is good. It's a really big positive to make yourself vulnerable, because you're going out there in the unknown territory, if you like. You're testing the waters, but you're giving it a go. Because imagine if you don't give it a go, what's going to happen? You're just going to be trotting along as average and not have that potential that's there. So I think being vulnerable is a great state for us to be in, and it empowers us, really, and creates a better quality person.
I think you have to find that environment, right? Though, that right environment, at least to start off with, where you can be vulnerable with other people who are vulnerable.
As a safety net sort of thing. Just,
sort of get
security
a flavor.
blanket. Yeah.
And then you can sort of edge out and do a little bit on the sort of outside the group, because you're comfortable in the other group.
Well, as Harry was saying earlier, Facebook Live is a lot like that. You're just putting it out there, and you don't know how it's going to be received, or what people are going to think of you or judge you. I know the very first Facebook Live for most people is, whoa, so scary. You think, are they going to think I'm such an idiot? You know, but, you know, but then when you step into your power and have more belief within yourself, you know, the vulnerability sort of decreases, and you go, well, it is what it is. I am who I am. Yeah, so it's good to be vulnerable.
And I think it's a great way to practice in a safe space to start with, like Maggie. Build up the confidence, and then you can share your wonder with the world, without fear that, you know, it's not going to be good enough, because it always is good enough.
And who says what good enough is? That's your definition of what's good enough, right?
Yeah.
So then it depends what your standards are, or somebody else's good enough might be, you're like, no, that's not good enough. Or, wow, that's amazing.
And I think primary school is a very good area where kids develop, you know, and have to put themselves as being vulnerable. It might be starting out debating and coming out and standing up for opinions in front of other kids. And, you know, there's so many opportunities for kids to present themselves as vulnerable. And even in sporting things, you know, you're in a softball team and you've never played before and you don't want to look like an idiot, but you've got to learn. So, I mean, school is a good environment, isn't it, Harry, for starting out?
It is. It can be terrifying for some kids, though. Just wanting to chat to people, you know, that are not in your group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a kid the other day and he said that the kids say to him, oh, look over there. He looks over there and they'll run away.
That's terrible.
It can be pretty hard sometimes, yeah. Oh, but that's right. That's what school's for. It's the learning ground.
Well, my youngest just has started secondary school and went on a camp last week. And so it was the third week of school. The first 2 weeks he went to the library every day because he was too scared and didn't know how to make friends. And so the whole camp for the week was you're just thrown in there with other kids that most of them didn't know each other. And after the Friday, you know, after the week, it was just like, see you, Sam, see you, Sam. You know, he'd made friends, but it was putting himself out there and literally being pushed into it. But as you say, in a safe environment with the, you know, teachers, whatever, all controlled. But, you know, it changes people's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those friends will probably stay with him for his whole life.
I know. Well, how all of us around the group, who would you, my oldest friend, I think from memory is from prep. So that'd be like age 5. You know, wow. Yeah. So what about you guys? What about you, Harry? What about you, Maggie and Shauna?
I migrated from England when I was 13, so I lost track of those kids. Yeah. But I think it's easier now with Facebook and social media. You can keep in touch with.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I moved around a lot as well, so friendships changed quite dramatically. So I would say for me, it's probably like friends from grade 7, not much before that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mine would be only 17 years old, as in not me being 17 years old, my friendship being 17 years old when I came to this country, when I came to Canada. Because I don't remember anybody from my school or high school. I think I actually blocked it out, like mentally blocked it out. I think I can remember, maybe 2 people's names from high school. Nobody from junior or anything, but from high school. I don't remember anybody from my university. Both universities, don't remember anybody's name.
Oh, you're screaming therapy, baby.
But I have a friend, she lives in Nova Scotia now, but again, I've known her for 17 years. Now, I don't know if I'm different, but with me, if I'm your friend, like we're really good friends. And I don't have like a huge group of friends, maybe because of that, because I value friendship so much that you got to be a pretty special person to be sort of, you know, to be married. And that's not because I'm selective. It's just because I really, really value people who I'm friends with. I don't be friends with people just because I'm trying to be nice or, you know, it's the dumb thing to do. Do I want to be friends with this person? If I do, I go all in. Maybe I still need therapy.
Have you seen The Sinner? Seeing I'm still on my, my Netflix run. The Sinner. She's got so many repressed memories. It's not funny. So do yourself a favor and watch that one. Or from growing up in childhood stuff. Yeah.
I will. I'll book myself a therapist too. Does anybody have anything that they want to say before we wrap it up for this week?
No, except that I enjoy these sessions. It's fun to do.
Yeah.
Makes us laugh.
Yeah.
Shauna?
I just want to bring back the little thing I said about perfection and vulnerability, if that rings home for someone, because that was so life-changing for me. I'm assuming somebody watching might be interested in that too.
Very nice. And Sally?
I think I'll just practice being more vulnerable this week. Absolutely. It's awesome.
Just
work on that inner coach, build it up, get rid of that critic.
All right, guys. So that is it for this week. If you love this video, please make sure you share it tag a friend who might need it. And don't forget to give a thumbs up for us on Facebook. And also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you soon.
Beautiful.
Bye.
Bye.